Hey, founders, Kirk Michie again. Okay, this is part of the funnel series. We are still in the top part of the funnel, right? So you're still curious about whether you should sell your business and asking some of the really great questions like, how do I think about multiple? What's a business like mine worth? When's the right time to go to market? And then we start getting down to, okay, once you're starting to check those boxes or think about those things, and let's say you're not ready to go just yet, or you're only ready to go if you're going to get a big enough number. And let's say maybe, kind of the back of the envelope valuation stuff that you've deduced so far, which you don't want to use as the final number, but, doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Then the next question you ask is, so how do I make my business more valuable? And this is a fantastic question that many founders fail to ask, principally because they don't know that there's so much, kind of low-hanging fruit, if you will, to improve upon valuation, right? So first thing to do, professionalize your financials. Look, the buyer of your business might care about the unique intellectual property and the differentiated position you have out in the marketplace, and whether your products and services are superior to your competition, and whether you've got great growth opportunities. All that is true after they have looked at the transferable economics of your business, the recurring revenue or the sustainable EBITDA, the growth in EBITDA. Once they've looked at those things, then they will start to dig into the rest. So first and foremost, professionalize your financials. Look, if you're using cash accounting, maybe have your CPA or your internal controller or your outsourced CFO take a look at, converting your books to accrual-based accounting, generally accepted accounting principles, because chances are your buyer and or their lender, if they're a private equity firm, are going to need those things converted to accrual-based accounting. You might as well get there now. The second thing you want to do is whether you get a formal quality of earnings statement done, or you just, take a look at some of the stuff that's on our website about how to calculate EBITDA, and you have your person go back in and start do those add backs to your net income to figure out what your adjusted EBITDA is. We've talked a lot about that before, so we won't go into it in any greater detail now. But doing those two things could make a massive difference in the valuation of your business. I mean, we're talking millions, maybe tens of millions, right? So just do those two things. And then, think about your customer concentrations. If you get 80% or 100% of your business from one big customer, let's say that you're making a product and you sell half of it to Home Depot and half of it to Walmart, that's great, except that no financial buyer is going to buy your business with that kind of customer concentration. So one of the things you can do, if you haven't already, is anything you can do to either actually reduce customer concentration or get on the path toward reducing customer concentration so that no customer is more than ideally 5% of your business, but certainly not more than 25% of your business. The more diversified your revenues and profits are, the better for buyers. Then, in the same vein, right, sort of along the lines of risks to the buyer, how important are you to the business? Have you built out a management team? Do you have a succession plan? Do you have a successor? Do you have an answer when the buyer asks you what it's going to be like with top customers when you're gone? Are you leading the sales effort on everything? Are you the number one call on customer service? You've got to be able to delegate those things. You've got to be able to prove that your business can survive without you to have a really sustainable, transferable, buyable business. So get to work on that if you haven't already done that. Okay, so those are the three key things to get going on. There's others, it's not a mutually exclusive list, but as you're moving down the funnel and start to think about these questions towards then developing your strategy for how you'll go, these are good questions to be asking. More soon. Thanks.